Welcome people, welcome back. You don't know it's your boy Kamani Brown, and today we're going to be speaking about the PlayStation Pulse 3D headsets. Not to be confused with the upcoming PlayStation Pulse Elite headsets. Now Sony has about 3 different headsets in the PlayStation family. This, which is considered the granddaddy of them all, the Pulse Explorer that's coming out December 6th, which depending on when this video is out, maybe before or after this video, and the Pulse Elite that's coming out in February of 2024. Now, this video I'm really going to be speaking about this guy here, old trusty. I don't even game with speakers. Ever since I've had the PS5 since around little after launch, I've only been using these guys. I've had this thing since day one. Now, looking at it here, if you guys wondering what the hell this is actually for my Antlion wireless microphone that I use when I'm streaming or game recording or even just chilling online with my friends. And the other side is pretty bare. And guys, just looking at it, I didn't do any form of recent cleaning of it, but you can see a little stains here or there, a couple of battle scars here and there. But the main thing and the only thing that didn't hold up after almost 3 years of use are the head cups. Sony cheaped out on the head cups. I'm not even going to go around any corners with this one. They cheaped out on the ear cups. They did. After about a year and a half, they started to flake. Coming up to the 2nd year mark, it was unbearable. It was downright unhealthy and it became a health hazard. No jokes, people. I had to replace these things. And I did a video a while back showing how to actually change these things. And these ear cups that I highly recommend, they were pretty cheap. Less than 20 bucks, less than 15 bucks actually at the time. I'll leave a link to them in the description below. You guys can check them out. I didn't do any form of cleaning or anything, so you guys can see the white from the sweat. Apologies if you find this gross, but this is just life, people. So the sweat and the dirt is there. But best of all, because this material is more or less fabric, it has a layer of gel material underneath it, so it keeps your ears a bit cool for a while until, of course, your body temperature takes over. But it's definitely a worthy upgrade from the original one. It just makes your ears hot right off of the bat. And they aren't so affected by the salt and the sweat. So it's not stripping or anything, showing no signs of that. It's still pretty comfortable as day one. Not as clean, but still pretty functional, right? And that's the only thing. I went at length to speak about that because aside from that, these headphones are proven to be very reliable, very sturdy, and aside from a couple of discoloration and some dirt and oils and whatever, she's good to go. Perfect. Working as good as day one. Now, just getting the physical part out of the way. Now, getting down to actual functionality. These are stereo headsets. Despite the 3D in its name, this uses the standard run-of-the-mill dynamic drivers that you find in pretty much most modern headphones these days. And through Sony's proprietary technology, they angle it a little bit differently here. As you guys can see, there's a little angle here and some other software tricks and whatever. Along with that new Tempest engine that they have implemented since the PS5, it allows for pretty sublime 3D audio. Now, it's not the loudest pair of headsets out there. Admittedly, there are others from other brands like Arctis that may give you more crisp and louder sound, but for the price that this thing costs, really and truly you cannot complain. Now, one of the advantages that this has over the other third-party headphones, such as those from Arctis like I mentioned, is that throughout its life cycle, Sony actually released an equalizer for it. A native equalizer that is actually in a system at the software level that you can actually use to change the sound of these headsets. And it definitely does help. I keep mine pretty much on the bass boost function because these things do lack a bit in the bass. But aside from that, between the Tempest engine and the actual hardware of these headsets themselves, I do get pretty good sound. I cannot complain. I've never had to complain. I pretty much am able to hear every little sound that I need to hear in gameplay. If it's shooters like Call of Duty or Apex, I can hear where bullets are coming from. I can hear footsteps. I can easily pinpoint where my enemies are coming from with no issues whatsoever. Even more so than most generic or any other generic headphone that I have personally tried by plugging into the controller itself in the 3.5mm jack hole or otherwise. Up to this point in time when this video is being created, since these are pretty much the only native headsets on the market for the PS5, they're worth it. The regular MSRPs are around 100 bucks, $99.99. They frequently go on sale for less. I've seen them drop as low as around 75 bucks. But this time of year with, the whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday and Christmas season, you tend to see them go on sale fairly frequently. And I'm almost sure with that brand new Pulse Explorer coming out in a couple of weeks from the date of this filming, they are very likely to go on sale yet again, because those cost about $200, double the price of these. And they're sold out right now. I was not able to pre-order, but I want them, I need them. It will solve my issue here, my main issue with these headphones. I'm going to get to that. Right out the gate, I want them. And of course, as soon as I get them, I'll be doing a live unboxing and a review here on this channel. You guys know my first impressions, and of course, let you guys know if it is worth the cost of admission. Now, getting back to these, the microphones. The microphones are not great. They're not. I'm not going to mince any words with this. They work, people will hear you, but they will hear everything else. If you're eating chips, if you're eating your dinner, if it's hot and you have the fan on, even if you have the HVAC on, or AC, the kid down the street riding his bicycle and twiddling that bell, your neighbor calling his kid, you'll hear everything through these microphones, for better or for worse. And what you do hear does not sound all that great either. You can make out what people are saying, you can make out what I am saying, but you can also make out what everyone else is saying in the household, and they do not sound like real life. It doesn't sound great. So they work if you have nothing else. They're serviceable, but if you can afford it, get something like the Antlion Mod Mic Wireless. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. If you want a no compromise solution, which works pretty much right alongside these headphones with no additional wires or cables or anything, all you pretty much need to do is just plug in another dongle in one of the additional USB-A ports. That will significantly improve and give you close to studio quality microphone audio. Now, the next thing that I do not like about these headsets, and that I pretty much continue to struggle with over the couple of years of owning this thing, are these ear cups. Yo, the heat is real. Climate change is real. And Jamaica being a tropical climate, a tropical country, summers are no joke. And with these electric bills, there is pretty much no room to be keeping the AC running all day and all night. So I have to be relying on the fan. And guys, even with the fan, I take these off my ears after about an hour or two, and water will be streaming down my face. Hence why you see these sweat marks here, which can be easily removed off of these particular ear cups, because this part of it is more or less fabric. So a little Lysol or even just a damp cloth, you wipe them, they'll go away, no problem at all. But just to show you guys a point, these things become very uncomfortable on your ears after an hour or two. Bear that in mind. If you're in a tropical climate, it's something you're gonna have to think about, guys, because I have to be taking these things off, wiping them, trying to dry them, wear them halfway and hold my head close to the fan so that the fan can blow in and blow my ear and the ear cups themselves to cool them. It gets tricky. And that's why I'm looking forward to the PlayStation Explorer, because those are in-ear earbuds which I can pretty much keep in for hours on end, no problem, no issues with heat and my ears warming up like chestnuts on an open fire. And guys, that's the next downfall of these things, the mic and the ear cups, the heat produced. But there's not much that can be done. Let's see if Sony combats this with the PlayStation Elites when they come out next year. Now, the next thing you guys may be wondering about is the battery life. Now, right out the gate, for me, the battery was never an issue. It has decreased over time because of using it for almost 3 years constantly non-stop as the default sound output device for my gaming. It has held up pretty well. Even to this very day, I can be playing for about 4 hours before I see it actually go down to a single bar, and that's when I usually plug it in. Most of the time, I do not wait for it to give me that low battery warning, which means that it can actually go beyond 4 hours. The charging speeds are not the best, regardless if you use a fast charger or not. It does take a while to charge, especially if you're using it while you're gaming. However, you can charge them as you use them as well. So if you have a long enough USB Type-C cable, you're pretty much good to go. And that brings me to the ear cups themselves and the hardware functionality. Now, I just showed you guys the USB Type-C port. There's a 3.5mm jack that you can use to plug it into the controller itself or a PC or otherwise. They do work even when the battery is dead. From my recollection, you have the power switch, of course, right here, and there's a light. It blinks when it is searching for a signal. It gets solid once it connects. It breathes orange while it is charging. That's pretty much all I need to know about that. This is a mic hole right there. You have the mute button, the volume rocker, the monitor on or off that I've never used before, and the chat and game volume where you pretty much adjust the bias between the game volume and your voice audio. Here's another mic hole, and that's about it. There's pretty much nothing on the right ear cup aside from my pre-installed magnet here for my Antlion wireless microphone, which I put on myself. So that's about it in terms of hardware features. I mean, all these buttons still work reliably. They don't give me any issues after all of this time. And yeah, that's about it. Aside from some discoloration, because it's not so much black anymore. It's starting to get a bit blue. And of course, these are starting to fade. Hopefully, keep my fingers crossed they don't exactly dry rot on me. This thing has been solid. This is old reliable for me. And yet again, along with the DualSense Edge, it is a peripheral that I cannot do without. I cannot wait to get those PlayStation Pulse Explorers in my hands and in my ears to see if they will finally replace these guys here. So that's it, peeps. After coming up to 3 years of owning this thing, I still give it a thumbs up, and for the price, it is worth it. So being the granddaddy and soon to be the baby of the 3 headset sisters, if you're on a budget and you have $100 or less to spare, look out for this one, grab this one, you will not regret it. So thanks for tuning in, peeps. You don't know, I'll appreciate a like, subscribe, and of course, hitting that little notification bell so you know when the next video is out. See you guys in the next one. Peace and take care.